Welcome to Once Upon a Coin, documenting the ongoing history of blockchain and cryptocurrency. And as always, I'm your storyteller, Jason Cassidy. In English, a noun is a person, place, or thing. Now, we look at two of these three quite often here on the show. However, today we are going to be looking at a place opposed to a person or a thing like a company or a coin. Admittedly, only a select few locations are even worth discussing when it comes to blockchain. Those handful of places on Earth that are though, is because they've made such a major impact on the global crypto story that they're now an integral part of it. You're about to learn what is quite possibly the most powerful country on the planet when it comes to digital currency. This is the story of crypto in South Korea.
Sun cast a shadow, a digital line is coming over the mountain and over your mind. Double down your Bitcoin, hang on for the ride. We're moving into the future, one block at a time. We're moving into the future, one block at a time.
To say that South Korea has a good reputation for producing technology that humanity greatly values would be a massive understatement. We've all grown up using products that are more or less staples now, and a non-trivial amount of them have come out of a relatively small country. With a population of just over 50 million people, this tech-savvy nation had all the cultural pillars in place to adopt a game-changing financial innovation. So, when Bitcoin was released, we got to see just how progressive South Korea would be towards disruptive creativity at the financial level. In the early days of crypto, social media hadn't yet evolved to be the breeding ground of activity that it represents today. Back then, the place to be if you wanted to learn and discuss cryptocurrency was the legendary Bitcoin Talk Forum. Curious South Koreans were among the early adopters of Bitcoin, unsurprisingly. Translations in Korean were available in the forum, which helped form a dedicated group, and eventually they carved out their own niche there. By the time the great bull market of 2013 arrived, the nation was ready to fully embrace it. The first cryptocurrency exchange in the country's history was called the Korean Bitcoin Exchange, which was later rebranded to Korbit. In April, they launched the first BTC KRW trading pair, with KRW standing for the Korean won, the national currency. At the height of the bull market, things got so hot with Bitcoin that it eventually started being featured on mainstream South Korean news, putting it on the radar of millions.
It's the first decentralized virtual currency. Bitcoins are a hot commodity these days. What exactly is a Bitcoin, and could this be the next big thing in the world of e-commerce?
I think the first question is the same question that many people have, as its technicalities are complex and the mechanism difficult to understand. So Song Ji-hun has more for us on that to shed some light on Bitcoins. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. It's a very difficult terms out there, and actually it's peer-to-peer digital currency and payment network, which was invented in the wake of the global financial crisis back in 2009 by a computer scientist using the alias Satoshi Nakamoto. But despite the Japanese name, we don't know who he or she is, or whether he's an individual or a group, but speculations are that he could be a European economist who was pessimistic about the current monetary policies and currency inflation. It's a two-way virtual currency without a central bank or administration. It's peer-to-peer traded money. Now that peer-to-peer means all personal computers used for Bitcoin's transactions become part of the network connected between users instead of a main server. Now, only 21 million units can ever be created, and currently 12 million Bitcoins have been issued. That's almost half of the total amount designed to be issued.
By the time 2014 arrived, the nation was going absolutely bonkers for crypto, seeing several crypto exchanges launch along with a slew of other services. A nasty crypto winter had set in at the onset of 2014, but the declining prices did little to dampen the interest that South Koreans now were showing in this new asset class. More proof of this came when in 2015, an exchange that would eventually become one of the biggest in the world made a very bold move. Xcoin, launched a year prior in 2014, decided it was time to conduct a rebranding of its name. The result? A name that cryptonauts are intimately familiar with today: BitThumb. It wasn't just crypto middlemen that were making big waves here either. Startups of all kinds were coming to market with various ways of maximizing the power of blockchain technology. The next few years of the bear market saw adoption of cryptocurrency continue in South Korea. And by 2016, it was clear that the government was slowly but surely accepting that crypto was becoming a cultural phenomenon within their nation. By year's end, new regulations were announced that would impact crypto startups, with the rationale behind the move being the government's desire to start cracking down on illicit transactions being conducted with Bitcoin. Serious regulations were coming to South Korean cryptonauts. But despite governments around the world cracking down on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency around this time, there was absolutely nothing even all their combined powers could do to stop what was coming next. The great bull market of 2017 was truly something to behold, with Bitcoin starting off the year around $900 US a coin, yet finishing the year almost breaking through the $20,000 US dollar barrier. Now that is some crazy price action. South Korea was a major player in the 2017 bull market, seeing a record amount of users jump into the space and place their bets on the now thousands of coins and tokens to choose from. This love affair with cryptocurrency didn't go unnoticed by the global media. It was now official. South Korea was truly becoming one of the few blockchain hubs. The South Korean government responded to this cultural movement around digital currency embracement. They released a series of regulations in an attempt to try and reel in the rampant speculation going on during the ICO or initial coin offering bubble. Once 2018 arrived, the bull market was officially running out of steam and prices were declining across the board. With South Korean traders now having to deal with very strict KYC or know your customer rules, the results were pretty predictable. Customers were not impressed, and coupled with declining portfolio values, they started to leave the exchanges in droves. If the goal the government had was to cool off the market, well, it did the job. Maybe even too well. I say this because what came next was a very long, cold, and arduous 3-year crypto winter. And just like in previous bear markets, South Koreans more or less shrugged it off and kept investing, innovating, and integrating. By now, it was pretty much obvious to anyone that was paying attention. South Koreans just really loved cryptocurrency. Even during the pandemic, the country was receiving attention for all the help it was doing to try and tackle global crypto adoption. Because the nation really never slowed its roll when it came to onboarding its citizens to crypto during the bear market, this left them in a very good position. And they took full advantage of this, because in 2021, the bear market was ready to end and the bear was going back into hibernation. This could only mean one thing: a new bull market was upon us. Unlike other bull markets in the past, this bull market featured NFTs or non-fungible tokens as a centerpiece, and South Koreans fully embraced this fact. Upbit, another top South Korean startup, became the first fully registered crypto exchange in the nation. This was obviously huge for them because it allowed them to take in the lion's share of big money that wanted to get involved in crypto, but play by the rules. Insane trading volume was once again taking place, which by now meant the government wasn't too far behind with some idea to tighten down the screws, which of course they did. This party lasted the entire year, as most bull markets in crypto usually do. By the time 2022 came along though, South Koreans got some really bad crypto news, and this time it was all on them. Arguably the nation's biggest and most visible success story, Terra, blew up in spectacular fashion in the spring of 2022. This triggered a daisy chain of financial devastation which eventually culminated in the ultimate demise of the very popular FTX crypto exchange later that year. The industry ended up recovering though, thankfully, and so too did South Korea's reputation. Yes, it was bruised now due to the Terra implosion. Nothing could change that. But by 2023, South Korea was now being viewed as a full-blown crypto oasis, with even major banks starting to warm up to the idea of digital coinage. 2024 was more the same, and now the country was claiming some pretty impressive titles. On April 16th, it was reported that the South Korean won was now the most traded fiat currency in the world when it came to crypto. Consider how geographically massive the United States is with over 350 million people. Now consider China, which has even a bigger landmass and boasts 1.4 billion people. So both the US dollar and the Chinese yuan were now being lapped by South Korea? The rest of the year was just basically one reinforcement after the next on the sheer dominance the industry has when it comes to the blockchain world. It's a heck of a lot more than just a compelling investment for young people. It's quite literally an integral part of that nation's culture now. With regulations now getting to the point where they have a very sound legal framework in place to protect investors, the sky really is the limit here. So now you know why no one's really going to be blinking an eye if this mid-sized Eastern nation once again leads the world into the next great bull market in crypto. Hey, maybe being typecast isn't so bad after all. I hope you enjoyed today's stroll down memory lane. Until next time, have fun and enjoy life, my friends. I'll be back soon with another incredible story to tell you.